all in, I just kind of mentioned, this is going to be the purchase price plus the rehab is your all in. In our trainings, this is how we talk. So take note of that. Loan to value, again, it's probably pretty obvious to a lot of you guys, but let's pretend the home is worth 100,000 and the loan is 80,000. The loan is 80% of the value. So the loan to value would be 80%. Loan to cost. Now, this is a little bit tricky. And I remember when we first learned this, it took me a couple times. All loan to cost means is the lender's not going to give you 100% of your all in. They're going to make you put a little skin in the game. So oftentimes they're going to say, hey, we'll give you 90% loan to cost. All that means, everybody, is 90% of the money that you need for the purchase and the rehab. Oftentimes these institutional lenders will say, hey, we'll give you, 90% of the purchase price. So you got to put 10% down and 100% of the rehab. That's a very common program. And that's good. It is what it is. I'm just teaching you kind of what it is, but let's pretend the home is worth 100,000. And then the loan to purchase the home is 60K. The rehab estimate's 20,000. So you need 80, but if the lender's only willing to give you 90% of the loan to cost, so if you're all in for 80, they're only going to give you 90% of that. Just a quick example. So you're going to have to come up with a little skin in the game. And oftentimes these big institutional lenders, they're great because the rate's going to be a little bit lower. But remember, at some point you will run into some issues if you have to put money down every single time. That's why we're going to teach you, it's okay sometimes to pay more in interest if you're getting 100% financing, because it's just more scalable for your model. Because if you have to put down payments down on every single loan, eventually you're going to run out of money at some point. So when you're first getting started, expect the lender to want a little skin in the game. You got to pay to play. When me and RJ first started, we were paying 12% plus 3 points plus 50% of the profit. So it's like pretty much I have no sympathy for anyone who doesn't want to pay high interest, RJ.
And also too, you got to think of it like, if this is your first time going after private money, you have to be willing to give up whether it's equity, whether it is loan to cost, and maybe you have to set that up that way because you have to build credibility. They need to trust that you're not just going to run off with their money. They don't know you yet, right? They may have seen you maybe on Facebook, or they heard about you from their realtor friend. But once you start doing business with them, then they'll ease up, you'll build credibility, they'll see that you're making your payments on time, and then you can go for a different structure. But this is all relevant to when you're getting started. Don't say no to money because it's not the ideal situation. Because a lot of times you're going to come across good deals and then you're not going to have any money. So then there's no opportunity for you. So keep that in mind. But Dave, go ahead.
The better you get at this stuff, the lower the money cost is going to be. The cheaper the money gets, the better you get, right? So yeah, you got to pay to play. And you know what? Let's say you're only keeping 50% of profits on your first couple deals. Guess what? 50% of something is better than 0% of nothing, right? Next here, simple interest, guys. For the sake of pretty much everything you do is going to be interest only. So it's real easy to calculate kind of what the payment is going to be. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. But simple interest, keep it simple. That's our motto. And the way you find out what your payment's going to be at 9%, let's say 72,000 at 9%, that is 6,480. That's for the year, right? And then you would divide that by 12 to come up with a $540 monthly payment. The most common mistake that we just had this conversation with a different lender we were training, kind of showing this stuff to a couple of weeks ago, and it's the mind thinks like, okay, I'm loaning you $72,000. What's 9% of that? They punch in their calculator. Cool, 6,480. So I loan you the 72,000. Let's pretend you buy a house, fix it up, and get it refinanced. It only takes you 60 days to do that. When you get paid back, the new lender thinks they get their 72,000 back plus the 6,480, regardless of how long it takes. No, what you're going to see is that is separated. And I'm going to teach you actually how to figure out what your day rate is. It's all done by a daily rate. But I can't tell you how many times a new lender says, oh, I thought I got the 9%, that's 6,480, regardless of how long it takes. No. You don't get it. So you're going to get the day rate. That is the annual rate. Okay, so 6480, if it took a whole year, you would get 6480, but I'm going to teach you how to break this down and then educate your lenders. You're going to run into that one as well, I guarantee, when you start doing these presentations. Also, make sure you hang out to the end. We're going to be kind of teaching you exactly what to say to these lenders. We might even get into a little role play depending on how much time we have. Accrued interest, this is where you're not making a monthly payment. So it could still be 9%, whatever. But this is where you don't have a monthly payment, but the interest just keeps building up. And then it, gets paid when the house sells or when you are, refinancing or paying the lender back. Okay. So you're still paying interest, but it's all paid at the end. And this is ideal for short-term lending flips because now you're not bleeding your operating capital by making these monthly payments. Could you imagine if you always have to put a down payment with a loan-to-cost loan and you always have to, pay monthly payments on all your flips? Your operating capital could really get burned up pretty quickly. And ask us how we know. We learned this stuff the hard way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At one point in time, we had over 20 rehabs going and we were strapped for cash and we had to sell something. So structuring it, how Dave said, accrued interest is going to allow you to breathe and allow your company to have cash flow to operate for the next 90 days. So good point, Dave.
For the flips, especially, not so much for the ones that you're going to refi, because now you're a little, you're waiting on the bank at this point. When you're doing a refi, it's okay to pay the monthly payments because now your payoff is that fixed amount. It's not going up every day. You don't want it to be kind of a moving target when you're waiting on the bank, because if they take too long, now it's like the interest is accruing. So that's just something that we have found in our experience. But amortization is pretty common. This is after you get a bank loan, and that just means your interest is, principal and interest. It's not interest only. You're chipping away at the loan for any given amount of time. Like a 30-year mortgage, it's amortized or paid back over 30 years. So a portion of the payment goes towards interest and a portion of the payment goes towards principal.